Okay, so we all have something that can explain how and why we are who we are at this moment in time. But those explanations cannot be formulated as excuses. You can have a lot of trauma in your life, and everybody's different. I understand that. But there are certain things that we still have to take personal accountability for when it comes to our current actions and how we have chosen to deal with the things that have molded and shaped us for good or bad to our present state. And when a lot of us, especially in the society that we live in, reject things like therapy, reject things like, group chats, just the ability, when we reject the things that can help us and heal us, then you really have less to lean on as an excuse. Look, coming to, work exhausted or not coming to work for whatever reason, you are still counted on to be a viable part of what you've been employed to be a part of. And whether you've had a rough night, you have family issues, things like that, a lot of times we have to look at those explanations, but a lot of times they won't pan out because somebody will deem them as excuses, whether they are legitimate or not. At the end of the day, just not fulfilling that part of it, whether it's work or not. What you've been through in your past should not be an excuse as to why you are a poor communicator in your current relationship. And when relationship, it can be a friendship, it can be a, intimate relationship, it can be one, again, as a coworker, as a student, as a neighbor, as a parent, any of those things, the things that have happened to us in the past can explain why we are where we're at. But it turns into an excuse if we have yet to do anything to have a corrective course of action, a self-employed corrective course of action that an outside source, such as the legal system or something like that, isn't forcing us to correct. At some point, we need to self-correct and do it ourselves and take that upon ourselves and say, it's bad. What happened is bad. And guys, if you know somebody who is going through that, again, I've always said, sometimes the best way to help somebody is to recognize you can't help them, that they need more concentrated and more professional and qualified help. A lot of times people aren't going to listen, but you'd be remiss if you didn't at least put that out there. Hey, you need to talk to somebody. And notice the signs, see the signs. If your gut is telling you, man, this is going bad, or this is not a good scenario, you really need to, reach out, especially if it's at work or something like that. And I get it. Nobody wants to be that person to put somebody else's business out there. But how many times have we seen where something happened where self-harm or harm to others came because we just let it go, and you didn't realize, you didn't think that they were going to do something to those extents. Now, those might be higher end, as far as I might be, really pushing towards the dreaded end of things, like making it worse than, but still, you just never know. So we have to recognize within ourselves that the things that we've gone through, at some point in time, we are still responsible for the actions that we carry out now. It has an explanation, but it can't be always held as an excuse. It can't exonerate you. The three X's, I guess. The explanation, the excuse, and it can't always exonerate you. It's not going to keep you from being fired if you were traumatized young, and so now you feel a certain way about work or whatever. It's not, they're just going to say, okay, we got to go on with somebody else. And a fourth X can be an ex-friend. It could be an ex-spouse, ex-lover, because again, the excuse or the explanation for the excuse will not exonerate and will make you an ex-employee, an ex, boyfriend or girlfriend, an ex-friend, neighbor, whatever. I'm kind of pitching it out here, but we have to recognize and take self-accountability on a lot of levels for a lot of the things that we had no control over what has happened to us, but now we have to be able to do something about what was done to us, so we don't continue that process or that downward spiral within us, and that we don't project it onto others. I'm going to leave it short. If you have any sort of ace up your sleeve, advice, comment, experience, and I know that I'm being short-sighted in a lot of this, but I'm speaking generally. I know a lot of you are going to have something that is an exception rather than the rule, that is very specific, or something catastrophic that even I can't, fathom because it didn't happen to me. So it's not to say everybody has, the same graded curve, but on some levels we still, because I know some people who've gone through some horrific things that I've never even come close to, and they're flourishing, and they are contributing members of society in a very positive way. So I'm also speaking for and from the people that have gone through some things, and I know a lot of you have gone through it yourself, or you know somebody who has, and they're not. Just because you may have been exposed to a lot of things doesn't mean that you have to expose others or continue to expose yourself to it. So please just keep in mind, the explanation is not always an excuse and will not always exonerate. So don't be somebody's ex. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.
Make it shine. Here we go. It ain't about the jewels, it ain't about the cars, it's all about the heart when it's time to put it in the air, put it on your word, represent your people, let them see ya. Do it like you do, show them the original, do it like you're supposed to, let them see ya. Own it like a boss, nothing but a thing, always maintain the